The Buffalo Bills are chasing a perfect 5-0 start to the season, and that means one thing: they have to make life miserable for rookie sensation Drake Maye under the bright lights of Sunday Night Football. So far this season, Maye has been playing like one of the top young quarterbacks in the league. Some even argue he's cracked the top 10, maybe even top 5, with the way he's been slinging the football. Before we dive deeper into this matchup, let me remind you, before listening to the latest news, subscribe to the channel, like it, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Let's move on to the new news. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Buffalo enters this showdown boasting the league's #1 passing defense, giving up just 125.8 yards per game through the air. That's elite. If the Bills want to keep their undefeated streak alive, they'll need to use that dominant secondary to disrupt Maye's rhythm, take away his favorite reads, and force him into uncomfortable situations. The stage is set for a true test of strength: Buffalo's lockdown defense against one of the hottest young arms in football. For all the dominance the Bills show against the pass, there's another side to the story, and it's not as pretty. Buffalo ranks near the very bottom of the league in rushing defense, giving up an average of 164 yards per game on the ground. That imbalance is a problem opponents have already started to exploit. Think back to earlier weeks: the Jets hardly needed to throw, the Saints gashed Buffalo with their ground attack, and even against Lamar Jackson, the damage came more from the run than the air. That's the paradox right now: Buffalo's secondary looks elite, but part of that reputation comes from the fact that teams don't even have to throw much when the run game is so wide open. And now, here comes the real test. Drake Maye is by far the most talented quarterback Buffalo will see outside of Lamar this season, and he's already playing with the poise of a veteran. He called this matchup a great gauge for his team, a chance to prove themselves in a tough environment, on the road, for all 4 quarters. That's exactly what makes this game so intriguing. Can the Bills tighten up their run defense without sacrificing the strength of their pass defense, or will New England find a way to keep Buffalo off balance all night long? On the road in Buffalo, 4 full quarters of football will decide everything. The Patriots can't afford to show up for just a half, and neither can the Bills. This game is about endurance, energy, and execution from start to finish. That's where Drake Maye has been so dangerous. Through the opening weeks, he's played with the fire of a top 10 quarterback, keeping New England alive in games they might otherwise have lost. But here's the reality: his supporting cast isn't scaring anyone. The offensive line has been shaky, the receivers outside of 1 or 2 flashes have struggled to separate, and the group as a whole leans almost entirely on Maye to make something out of nothing. Just look at the numbers: Maye has accounted for nearly 80% of New England's total yardage this season. That's the highest share of any player in the league. He's been the passer, the playmaker, and at times the only spark in that offense. For Buffalo, that's both the challenge and the opportunity. If the Bills' defense can take away Maye's rhythm, force him to rely on the parts of that offense that simply aren't as dangerous, they'll tilt the game in their favor. Sunday night isn't just about facing a hot rookie, it's about testing Buffalo's ability to stay disciplined, dominate up front, and close out all 4 quarters with the same energy they bring from the opening kickoff. Drake Maye's numbers look sharp, but let's put them in context. The Patriots' early schedule hasn't exactly been a gauntlet. They lost to the Raiders, squeaked out a win against Miami, dropped one to the Steelers, and handled a Carolina team that just about everyone expects to beat this year. Against those opponents, Maye has been solid, yet not untouchable. He threw an interception against Las Vegas, and since then, he's tightened things up, completing nearly 80% of his passes over the last 3 weeks. That efficiency is what Buffalo must prepare for. The Bills' defense at times settles into softer coverage, and Maye has shown he can punish that by getting the ball out quickly, letting his receivers pick up yards in space. The good news: New England doesn't feature many true deep threats. Maye hasn't been testing defenses vertically all that often, which means Buffalo won't have to worry as much about big shots over the top. But that doesn't mean he's mistake-free. Through 4 games, Maye has just 3 big-time throws compared to 4 turnover-worthy plays. That ratio leaves the door open for Buffalo's secondary to capitalize if they force him into tight windows. His adjusted completion rate is excellent, nearly 4 of every 5 passes finding the mark, but he's still a young quarterback, and turnovers can happen. Maye's overall grades are strong, including a 7-to-2 touchdown-to-interception ratio and a Pro Football Focus score well above average. He's even landed in the top quadrant in advanced metrics like EPA per play and adjusted net yards per attempt. Still, as good as those numbers look, this is Buffalo's chance to test him in a way he hasn't faced yet, against the league's top passing defense, on the road, in prime time, with the pressure turned all the way up. Drake Maye has been efficient, there's no doubt about it. He's moving the chains, finishing drives, and giving New England life week after week. But here's the key: if the Bills can contain him, the outcome swings heavily in their favor. Maye is elite in terms of poise and accuracy, but this game isn't about praising him, it's about Buffalo finding the formula to shut him down. So, how do the Bills do it? First, they have to control the line of scrimmage. Pressure up front forces Maye into rush decisions, and he's already shown a tendency to put the ball in harm's way when things get uncomfortable. Second, the secondary needs to stay disciplined. Maye loves quick throws and rhythm passing. If Buffalo's defensive backs can limit yards after the catch, they'll take away his comfort zone. Finally, the Bills must tackle well in space. Missed tackles turn short gains into drive-sustaining plays, and that's where New England thrives. Contain Maye, and suddenly the Patriots' offense looks ordinary. Let him get comfortable, and he has the ability to carry them on his back for 4 quarters. Sunday night will reveal which version we see, and whether Buffalo can rise to the challenge. One of the biggest keys for Buffalo will be making Drake Maye uncomfortable in the pocket. So far this season, the pass rushes he's faced haven't exactly been relentless. Outside of running into the Steelers and a matchup with Max Crosby and the Raiders, he hasn't seen consistent heat. That changes on Sunday night. Buffalo's defense thrives on confusion. They disguise their coverages better than almost anyone in the league, constantly shifting looks with their safeties before and after the snap. Quarterbacks often think they're seeing one coverage, only to find something completely different once the ball is snapped. That's when the mistakes usually come. But here's the twist: Maye has been unusually good at handling those exact situations. He currently ranks top 5 in the NFL in passer rating when defenses change their safety shell post-snap, sitting at 110.7. That means even when teams try to trick him, he's reading and reacting at a high level. For the Bills, that's a challenge and a statement opportunity. If they can pair disguised coverage with real pressure up front, they'll finally give Maye something he hasn't seen yet: a defense that can both confuse him and collapse the pocket before he has time to adjust. That's the formula for forcing the rookie into mistakes, and it might just be the edge Buffalo needs to stay unbeaten. Here's where Buffalo has a chance to really flip the script on Drake Maye. He's been excellent at handling disguised coverages this season, but the Bills take deception to another level. Their defensive schemes are layered, unpredictable, and designed to make quarterbacks second-guess every read. Take one example from earlier this year: Buffalo completely confused the Saints by rotating players in and out of unexpected spots. Safeties shifted from the line of scrimmage back to deep coverage, another defender dropped down into the box, and nickel corner Taron Johnson came screaming off the edge on a blitz. It left the offense guessing wrong, and the play ended in an incompletion. That's the type of creative chaos the Bills thrive on. The challenge will be doing it against Maye. He's at the top of the league in 3rd and 4th down efficiency, where everything tightens up and defenses usually gain the upper hand. Meanwhile, Buffalo's own defense has struggled in those exact situations this year, ranking near the bottom of the league in getting off the field. That contrast is huge. So the question becomes, can Bobby Babich dial up enough fresh looks that Maye hasn't seen before? If Buffalo disguises well, pressures him consistently, and clamps down in those critical downs, they'll finally take away what has made him so effective. This matchup isn't just about slowing Maye, it's about the Bills proving they can win when it matters most: 3rd down, 4th down, and under the lights. Every advanced stat points to the same thing: Drake Maye is playing at an elite level. His completion percentage above expected, his EPA per play, he's right at the top of the charts. That's why stopping him isn't about one magic scheme. For the Bills, it comes down to execution, discipline, and tackling when it matters most. One area Buffalo absolutely has to clean up is containing Maye when he takes off. It's going to happen: 3rd down, nothing open downfield, and he finds a lane. That's been the story too many times for this defense. Through 4 games, quarterbacks have scrambled 11 times against Buffalo for 128 yards. That's an average of 12 yards per scramble, and 7 of those runs moved the chains. That's simply unacceptable for a defense with this much talent. Maye isn't afraid to use his legs. He already has 15 scrambles for 90 yards this season, averaging 6 yards a carry, and nearly half of those have gone for first downs. If the Bills don't keep contain, he'll extend drives in exactly the moments where they need to get off the field. Tackling in space, holding edges, and closing scramble lanes will be just as important as disguising coverages. Buffalo knows Maye will take his shots, both with his arm and with his legs. The question is whether the defense can keep those scrambles from becoming backbreaking plays in critical situations. And here's the truth, I already know it's going to be frustrating. The key for Buffalo is simple: get Drake Maye under pressure. That's the one area where he's shown real vulnerability. When Maye has time and rhythm, he can carve up a defense. But when he's hurried, when he's forced off his spot, the mistakes start to show. The numbers back it up. According to PFF, Maye holds just a 48.0 passing grade under pressure this season. One of his 2 interceptions and half of his turnover-worthy throws have come when defenders were in his face. That's the opening for Buffalo. If they can disrupt his timing, force him into that extra beat of hesitation, that's when opportunities for takeaways present themselves. That means the Bills' pass rush has to show up. And it starts with Greg Rousseau. So far this year, he's been fine on paper, grading out as above average, but production matters more than grades. Against the Saints, he managed just 1 pressure, no sacks, no hits. That won't cut it this week. Rousseau needs to make his presence felt, because Maye is more than capable of winning this game if he's comfortable in the pocket. It's not about looking good in the analytics column. It's about putting the quarterback on the ground. That's the difference between Buffalo surviving Maye or watching him dictate the game. That sack Greg Rousseau got earlier this year? Yeah, that was a pity sack. Go get yourself a real one against a real quarterback this week, and maybe we'll start talking again. Because right now, what have we seen from Rousseau? Nothing. Zero impact. It's time to stop grading out fine and start producing. And while we're at it, how about Joey Bosa goes and makes another play? People keep telling me the Bills can't live off turnovers, can't survive on bend but don't break defense forever. Eventually, you break. But that's why you need game-breaking players. Joey Bosa is exactly that. Look at the advanced numbers, and yes, I hate that I've turned into the nerd who studies EPA charts, but facts are facts. Through 4 weeks, Bosa ranks as a top 6 defensive player in the league when you measure playmaking, solo tackles, forced fumbles, negative plays. That's the kind of production Buffalo needs. Then there's Ed Oliver. We don't know for sure if he'll be out there, but the signs are good. He practiced Wednesday, practiced Thursday, and if he gets through Friday clean, he should be active. Even if he's on a snap count, just having him out there matters. His presence alone changes the way Buffalo attacks up front. And finally, Deone Walker. What a bright spot he's been. Every single week it feels like he's blowing up a play in the backfield. Tackles for loss, stuffing the run, wrecking things behind the line. He's been consistent, and he's been reliable. In a defense searching for answers, Walker has delivered. He made that pressure on Tua that forced the ball off angle and straight into Terrell Bernard's hands. That doesn't show up as a sack, but it changes games. Walker has been a disruptor, maybe not with the flashy numbers Bosa brings, but the impact is there. The coaching staff sees it, the players feel it, and Bills fans know it. That's why his role is only going to grow. Deone Walker is the one tech of the future, book it. So here's the question, who steps up against New England? Who's the guy that makes the play on Drake Maye? Is it Greg Rousseau at 50 finally showing up? Is it Ed Oliver at 91, fighting through to dominate the middle? Joey Bosa at 97, delivering that game-changing moment? Or Deone Walker at 96, wrecking another drive? One of those guys has to take over. But let's keep it real, the ultimate difference in this matchup comes down to one thing. The Bills have 17. The Patriots don't. If this game turns into a quarterback duel, I know who I'm taking every single time. With the game on the line, with the clock running down, I'm riding with Josh Allen. We have 17. They do not. And that's the bottom line. Let's go Buffalo.